grew up playing the basketball with the boys, so like it's always been physical and feisty, and like that's what it is, and you got to find a way to...
The unimaginable happened just 2 minutes ago. Fans are shocked and teammates are devastated by the abrupt resignation of the WNBA's biggest star. In the darkness, rumors circulate. Was there a violent altercation with league officials? A terrible wound hidden, or a controversy that is too risky to discuss openly? Sophie Cunningham's voice broke. Tears burned in Lexie Hull's eyes. The cameras captured their anguish. The stillness is more intense, and the arena feels colder. What reality may make Clark turn away? Everything will be shaken by the responses. The enigma surrounding Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's most perplexing storm, is centered around Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation who changed the league overnight. Until a few days ago, she was leading her team in assists, points, and even the nightly headlines in addition to being a dominant player. She wasn't hurt, nor was she straining. She wasn't skipping practices either.
Is Caitlin Clark is going to be traded soon. And if you follow the rabbit hole, it all sounds real. It all sounds on purpose. And it all makes sense. Caitlin Clark to LA Sparks.
She was the spark that attracted a whole new generation of fans, increased television ratings, and filled arenas. However, she vanished in an instant. Nothing but silence. Neither a warning nor an explanation. The astonishment caught on like wildfire. Theories multiplied in a matter of minutes. The phrase load management, which is frequently used to cover up rest or minor injuries, was spoken in whispers by some people around the game. Others alluded to ambiguous disciplinary grounds. However, the parts were mismatched. The regulations hadn't been broken by Clark. She hadn't treated teammates disrespectfully. She was actually doing flawlessly both on and off the court. Because of this, the departure felt more like an eraser than a benching. Those who were observing sensed something more profound was taking place. The murmurs from behind closed doors then began. There was increasing hostility between Clark and some senior officials. According to people familiar with internal league conversations, scoring points wasn't the only reason for her quick ascent. It has to do with her voice. Interviews conducted after the game became news stories. Videos of her direct candor circulated on social media. The unwritten rule of blending in was not being followed by her. Not everyone at the top seemed to like that she was sticking out. The fuse was sparked by one rumor in particular. Clark apparently questioned league marketing tactics in a private meeting, accusing them of being tone-deaf and cut off from the supporters she believed she stood for. She didn't mince words. She refused to submit to authority. According to some in attendance, the interaction went poorly because she talked clearly. Her court time started to decrease within 48 hours. She was entirely benched within 72 hours. What came next was far worse. No direct declarations, no interviews, and no press conferences. One of the league's brightest lights turned into a ghost as though someone had flipped a switch, but her admirers wouldn't let her vanish. In a few hours, hashtags like #WhereasCaitlin started to trend. Outrage abounds in the comment sections. Transparency demands were heard on TikTok, Instagram, and X. The truth was demanded by thousands of devoted followers. NBA players joined the chorus, calling the league's treatment of Clark dubious, deliberate, and even demeaning to the game's integrity. Every question that went unanswered increased suspicion, and the WNBA's silence only made the commotion worse. Confusion has given way to defiance. Silence is no longer the only issue. It has to do with silence. And as time goes on, the mystery surrounding Caitlin Clark intensifies, putting further strain on a league that is already having difficulty managing the story. The WNBA isn't merely battling a problem for the first time. It's battling the spectators who won't turn away. And there's still one unanswered question. When Sophie Cunningham lights the fire, when silence breeds disobedience, will the WNBA endure? Keep an eye out. The fire is started by Sophie Cunningham. The stillness that followed Caitlin Clark's disappearance from the spotlight was oppressive. However, Sophie Cunningham entered that quiet and everything changed. Reporters continued to scramble for tidbits of information. Outrage from fans was flooding league inboxes, but the WNBA's administration said nothing. Sophie then said something. She didn't walk on tiptoe. She didn't use language that were safe. She went to the burnt ground. It occurred during what ought to have been a regular post-game interview. Rather than using well-practiced sound bites and polite cliches, Sophie delivered a quip that went viral in the sports world. Unless you are afraid of your biggest star's influence, you don't ignore her. The air in the room froze as soon as she finished speaking. Stunned, reporters leaned forward, and that video went viral on social media before the league's public relations office could write a single reply. It was all over the place in a matter of hours. Podcasts, Instagram clips, TikTok, and highlight channels. It was replayed like an anthem by fans. Sophie wasn't done, though. What might have been a spontaneous outburst turned into an unrelenting campaign. She went so far as to accuse the league of more sinister revenge on her podcast. She asserted that Clark's benching was solely related to politics and had nothing to do with basketball. Sophie accused the league of being more focused on control than advancement, more preoccupied with maintaining its power than honoring the very talent that kept the league afloat. She went farther than most athletes would have ventured, stating out loud what many had murmured in private. Clark's penalty was meant to serve as a reminder to athletes about what happens when they speak too boldly or shine too brightly. Her words cut like a razor through the stillness. Sophie reiterated them on live broadcasts throughout team meetings. She wouldn't compromise because she didn't see losing minutes or getting fined as the true threat. She wasn't terrified of the repercussions. It was allowing the league to quietly eliminate one of this generation's most significant players, and the supporters reacted. Her bravery spread like wildfire. Hashtags transformed from rage to action, with thousands of voices supporting them. Stand with Sophie and Free Clark started to trend side by side. What had begun as a single statement had grown into a movement that the league was unable to ignore. Supporters cheered not only for Clark, but also for Sophie, applauding her for being the sole athlete prepared to put everything on the line to expose what they saw as injustice. The WNBA was unprepared for this spark, and it spread more quickly than anyone could stop. One player's disappearance was no longer the focus of the fire. The integrity of an entire league was at stake. The WNBA was determined to keep this door closed, but Sophie Cunningham had opened it. Behind it were realities that may potentially change the course of the game. What started out as Caitlin's absence now affects the league's ability to survive. However, what explosive reality is concealed by Lexie Hull's silence? Continue to observe. The quiet is broken by Lexie Hull. The league's fortifications had already been shaken by Sophie Cunningham's fire. However, the storm intensified the very next day. With a different type of might, Lexie Hull entered the battle. She didn't write a lengthy statement. She didn't rely on well-rehearsed phrases or settle down for a comfortable podcast. Rather, after practice, she entered the press room directly, stared into the cameras, and spoke a single statement that was more impactful than any speech. What do you think they'll do to the rest of us if they can treat Caitlin Clark this way? The space went cold. No gloss, no spin, just the unvarnished truth. Reporters ceased making notes. After a few minutes, the video went viral outside of women's basketball, causing players in the background to move uneasily. WNBA fans were no longer the only ones responding. It covered every aspect of the sports industry. The same shocked inquiry is asked by YouTube commentators and ESPN anchors alike. What is going on at the WNBA behind closed doors? Lexie didn't end there. She shared an eye-catching black and white picture of herself with Caitlin Clark a few hours later. Loyalty was the only word in the caption. A flurry of conjecture was set up by that one word. In the locker room, was she screaming out betrayal? Was management the target? Was it a warning to teammates who were under duress to keep quiet? Although no one was certain, the timing could not be disregarded, and the uncertainty only heightened the suspense. Reports started to surface behind the scenes. According to insiders, since the debate started, Lexie has grown to be one of the most vocal members of the squad. One account claims that she went straight up to the coaching staff and demanded to know why the sole player who regularly sold full arenas was suddenly benched. According to the article, her teammates supported her. What had begun as rumors of discord within the locker room swiftly made headlines, depicting a team that was no longer cohesive due to concealment. Not only her own team, either. Lexie implied that players from several teams had been discreetly discussing their concerns and displeasure about the way the Clark matter was being handled away from cameras and league officials. There was genuine pressure to be quiet, but there was also a rising resolve to make the most of the occasion. According to sources, Lexie was organizing a group of younger athletes who were fed up with being instructed to play, snorts, smile, and keep quiet while their voices were being silenced. These athletes felt stuck by outdated politics. Then followed the mysterious, sentimental, and unavoidable tweets.